Good morning from sunny Florida. Hope everybody's having a good day. I thought it was Friday. It's not. It's only Thursday. So there's that. I cannot find my arm that I used to hold my phone to just make regular videos. So I'm doing this the old school way. I'm making a private live video. And then when I'm done flipping through this journal, then I'll put it up there for you guys to see. So this is the Victorian photo album, very old, that I turned into a junk journal. If this video is up, it is in the Etsy shop. I was going to put all my packaging out here and I forgot, but all my big journals come with one of my junk journal shop pens. They have a stylus, and of course you'll get a business card, and they all go in a muslin bag and then a sealed like Ziploc plastic before they go in the box so that the Postal Service cannot do any harm. That's what I should write on the outside of the boxes. Please do no harm to my journals. So this guy is, where's my notes? It is 9. Hold on. Now see, there I went and lost my notes. I have it right here. The measurements on this one are different than a regular journal. 9 inches wide, 6.5 inches tall, a 2-inch spine with 8 signatures and a little over 160 pages. I can move my kickstand now. And I was able to, on this one, let's see if you guys can see it. I was able to salvage the original headband. So there you can see it on that side. And then the back side is just a piece of the fabric of the headband. So that's both on the top and the bottom. And here's what the pages look like from the top and the bottom. And see how it wiggles like that? That means it's going to lay flat when we open it. It's got all the original vintage hardware, which, if you know me, you know that's my jam, even on the back. The spine was in great shape. I did put a heavy piece, I glued down a heavy piece of cardstock inside that spine just to make sure that it wouldn't go anywhere, but there was no rips or tears on it. And in this one, I did use, I'd say, about 85% of the digitals or things printed on the paper or ephemera are all from the old design shop, either from her blog or her Etsy shop. Both of those links are in the description box below. So please check her out. She is an amazing artist if you've never checked out her stuff. And everything in her Etsy shop is 50% off. So it's worth a peek. All right, so off we go. Now, the digis of hers that I used for the front and the back of each signature, keep in mind, this is 11 by 17 paper because of the orientation of this journal. So what I had done, I had to stretch it onto the page. And I, without distorting it too much, some of them, I just turned the page. Oopsie, here we go, hold on. There we go. I just turned the page and made it a pocket. So you'll see a few little things, that are upside down, which I think is, half the fun. So this one, I did sneak in one of the little altered dominoes, and she's got a little rusty safety pin and a button. And this is just 2 or 3 layers of this ultra thick embossing powder that I used. And then on the back, it's just inked up and it has my one-of-a-kind stamp on it. And this is some ephemera from the old design shop, some French. There's some checks and an old letter I tucked in there. One of the little crinkly bags, and inside there is a repair tag and a receipt from 1908. I just like that it says stamping company on it. Did a lot of sewing in this one. There's another old receipt just clipped on, part of a ledger with the tab still on it. There's a letter clipped on this page, and there's the other side of it. Some of these are stickers. Other places you'll see things printed. There's one of the little Tim Holtz tiny attachers with the read flashcard. Turn my light down just a little bit. That's kind of bright. There we go. Some yummy stained paper here. This is a little ledger sheet, and this is the other side of that bag. So there's a little tuck spot there. I've just stitched it on here. There's a little recipe and a note card tucked in this pocket. And you can see this is upside down because I folded it. But then I put a couple more things right side up to try and even it out. And there's some vintage tape. These are all digis from the old design shop. I did do some stenciling right there. That's for you, Brooke. Another vintage receipt. I'm trying to see if I see a date. I don't see a date on that. Old ledger page. This was just a grungy page that I printed on. It's hard to tell that that's a giant postcard. Some more French, real deal, clipped on. Book page. That's a little piece of Timmy ephemera sewn on there. Now, where you see these half pages, this is what was left of the 11 by 17 after I cut it to fit this book, so I didn't want to throw these away. So I put them in. The other side of the book page, a fun little quote. I think this might be the yummiest stained page in the book. That's another sticker, some more ledger. This is an original receipt, just clipped on like a Timmy clip. This is another. This much of it is the digi, right? So if it's on an 8.5 by 11, it's, takes the whole page. But because I didn't want to distort it too much, I just did a little bit of stamping and put a number code and some postage stamps on there. There's some digital stamping there. This piece right here is part of a ledger page without lines. So I just made this little letter from the old design shop, small, and stitched it on to lengthen the page out. And then there's a little tuck spot back there. This is some vintage stationery I had that I sewn on that short page. And there's some number codes, some quotes. There's the other side of that ledger page with the number on it, just some tissue. And this is from Donna in Australia, one of her little yummy bits. A little French receipt from the old design shop. An old photo clipped on there. Both of these digis, minus that digi, our old design shop. I did a little bit of stenciling just to fill that in. Little piece of the ledger sticking out. Right here, I stitched this on. If you see, that's the stub to the check. I thought I'd stitch it on. If you wanted to take the check out and use it for something, you could. Otherwise, it's just a cute little tuck. A little bit more stenciling and ledger. And a railroad company receipt clipped on. This is in the Etsy shop, so if you're watching it, it's there. There's a couple of tickets tucked in that, and let me hold this up close. Julie has a set of a whole bunch of these where she's taken old pages and sewn them together and then scanned them in, so you can print them out on cardstock and make pockets or tags or whatever you want to do out of them. Oh, let's get back in frame. There we go. So this minus those, that's part of the digi, and then I just added some more just to even out the page. That's another one of old design shop digis there. So this was all there was when it folded up, so I did a little bit of stamping, and there's some fun little bits. Now when you do look at some of her latest ephemera, you'll see a front and a back, and her and I have spoke about this many times, how hard it is, to print it on the front, then try and print it on the back. So I didn't even get back this. The best way she found is just print them both out, glue them together, and then you can trim it if you need to trim them up. But then, so I just print them on paper, not on cardstock if it's something that I'm going to double up like that. And it works great. There's another one of those French letters, a little field notes label. This is one of my, I don't have many left of the ledger index card. So I stitched that on and turned it into a pocket. And this little bit was clipped on here, so I just left it. It's got one of the tiny vintage owl clips. Little typewriter. Here's another one of those already put together, sewn. So I just folded it over, and these are neat. It gives you something to grab onto. It makes the paper sturdier. So if you've got some brittle paper, just take some scrapbook paper and put a strip the whole length, and then it'll keep it. It'll keep it more better. This is some blue, and I want to say it's onion skin. It's so light. There's another one of the receipts that I put together. This is one of Michelle's Yummy cards, so that's in there. Again, this page is folded up from back here, and I did do some stenciling and postage stamp and vintage tape. We finally found a place for the lady. I put her holding one of those leaves and a little photograph on top of it. And then this is a piece of real French ephemera there. And this is one of Julie's tags that, again, it was 2 pieces. So I cut it out and glued it together, trimmed it up and inked it, and voila. Looks like the real deal, right? This is a piece of French ephemera I had. So it fit perfect, stitched it right there, and it fit perfectly on this page. It's one of those fun microfilm or microfiche cards that we got from Donna in Australia. This is a coal ticket, so I did the same thing. I just folded it in half and glued it down there. Number codes. There is an old, what is this from? Entry check must be accounted for. Salesman, some kind of a salesman record book, but I just had the front and back cover. And then this is one of Julie's French digis that I printed on tea stained paper. So those are just in there to play with. This one I know you can find on the blog and in the shop in a set for sure. This I just did a little bit of collaging. There's a flower and a lady. These little bits are all ephemera from Julie's Etsy. Some more ledger. I was back and forth on whether to put a book plate in the back, so I just tucked one in. And then here's some more of Julie's ephemera I printed on tea-stained paper, and I made a pocket out of an old postcard. This was a short page, so I used some vintage tape and made it a long page. And another short page, discarded label. So this page printed out with just this, so I added some stamping. I love that Define Normal. And I love this digi. Have I scooted too far again? Sorry. This pocket's got a ribbon card, a little piece of 2 little pieces of Julie's ephemera, and 1 picture wheel that you can play with or collage. Some more ledger. That one's a flip ledger. This check from 1885, United States National Bank, New York. It's just stitched on the side there. There's a little label. There's another one of these that I put on the edge. Another vintage receipt from Steel and Brass Bedsteads, Bedding and Cushions from 1909. There's my certified one-of-a-kind stamp. The last pocket, again, I wanted to leave it to the owner to decide whether they wanted to put their borrower's card in the front or the back. Another one of Julie's receipts. That's a real vintage receipt I had tucked in that pocket. And then the gorgeous last page. And on these end pages, what I did was I scanned the inside of this book. And then when this gold and brown was scanned, it was very dingy. So what I did was I trimmed it off and I just put the end paper around here so you could still see the real deal. I thought that was important. And this, it stays shut pretty well. This one likes to flop open a little bit, but the key to that is just start arting in it or adding things to it. And once it gets a little bit fuller, see, I'll show you. Once it gets a little bit fuller like that, you see how that basically makes it lock once it has a little bit more in it. All right. So there it is. It is in the Etsy shop. I will go ahead and hit the button to load up this video. Tomorrow I'm going to that giant flea market and antique place I was telling you about. Where's the camera? Here we go. So hopefully maybe Sunday I will come on and show you what I got. All right, you guys, thanks for watching the video. Have a wonderful afternoon. Oh, it's almost noon. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.